So we're live.
Yeah, it's kicking off right now. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Stacker.News Live. My name is Carl. I'm with my friend EK.
Oh, not BFF.
We're not BFFs yet.
Yes, not yet.
Not yet. I was my BFF. Hang on. Let's get start all over. I'm with my friend EK and hang on. I can switch cameras. Hang on.
Oh.
And Plebdev.
Oh.
Right there.
Oh, there we go. Getting settled in.
There you go.
Yes, hello. That was my introduction.
So yeah, if you guys know, Keyan is hang on, sorry. I usually do this thing because Keyan talks right here, but since Keyan's not talking,
so I should talk.
You should probably say something, EK.
How did you switch the camera? It was like magic.
EK, why are you doxing yourself?
Oh yes, that is a good question. Why am I doxing myself? I don't really feel like I'm doxing. I feel like I'm just getting it over with. Like I don't want to hide myself from the stackers. It was always just meant to not associate my face with Bitcoin if not necessary. I mean, it's probably not really necessary to show my face, but I also feel like it's also not necessary to not show my face, if that makes sense.
It's like just the gig is up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think my biggest problem was just I cannot take back this decision. Like I cannot unhide my face. But yeah,
we're live now. It's over.
Yes, a door is closing, but I hope some doors are opening in some way.
It's powerful.
Yeah, how was your week? Let's start with Austin. Austin, how was your week?
It was good. It was exciting, busy. Obviously, a lot of work on my side. A lot of like diving back into Bitcoin, looking at these topics, some of which we're going to talk about.
Was it a lot of drama for you?
Is it a lot of drama for me?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of drama going on, but like, it's always, I find it advantageous when everyone's freaking out.
Dude,
good opportunity to learn.
You guys were freaking out, bro. You guys were freaking out the same way I was freaking out last week.
Okay, to be fair though, we were having the conversation in person amongst each other and just going deep and getting into it and getting angry and then having revelations and still at least me, still forming my opinion, right? And I'm not going to go post online or stamp and mark my word and say, this is my absolute opinion. This what I'm still getting a lay of the land myself. And so it's nice to be able to have those like super deep conversations and have smart people keep you in check, because it'd be easy to go run my mouth about this stuff. And I think it's good to hold your tongue before you really do your due diligence.
Okay, so we'll talk into it today, and then EK, how was your week?
My week, yeah, I definitely was made aware that there is something going on in Bitcoin Core. I usually like to not care about stuff that I don't have to care about, but I literally had to ask Austin, like, why should I care? And then he was like, yeah, Lightning is going to be affected because the fee rate or nodes won't agree on the fee rate. I think that was what you told me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the point I was trying to make is like not that this will happen, but more of like the ripple effect of what's happening goes to mempools and goes to fee estimation, which affects Lightning potentially. And so it kind of ripples across a lot of different topics.
We'll jump into it, but if you've never seen this crazy show before, it's called Stacker.News Live. It's the I like to call Stacker.News the front page of Bitcoin, but
the most unserious podcast.
I think it's very unserious. But check it out right now. It's live streaming on Stacker.News, and then there's 3 people watching. But hit subscribe. Turns out it's free. It's free. You can actually just like, there's a button right there. You hit subscribe, and it doesn't cost a fucking dime. Turns out.
Oh, you even need to like.
You just hit the subscribe button. There's this thing called the bell, and it's free. Turns out, doesn't cost anything. This episode's called, I think the Feds took my Bitcoin Meetup poster down. We'll talk about that later. I think that's the most important topic of the week, personally. But if you've never seen the show, hit subscribe. Wumble, Our producer in the shadows will be making clips of this whole thing, so you'll never hear me curse because he'll clip that out. So unless you're watching live, there you go. And we'll have all these clips here later. Cool. We're going to jump into the top 5 stories. We're going to go in reverse this week, Tenet style. The number 5 top story of the week is on relay policy and recent op return drama from Antoine Poinsot. This is May 1st Bitcoin territory from Cube. 12 comments, 2,442 cents. EK, what's this? I never heard of op return.
Oh, you never heard about OP return.
I'm
I
kidding.
think you heard a lot about it this week.
Yeah, what's this?
So I actually do have notes about this. Like I made sure to at least be a little prepared for this, all the stuff that is pretty new to me. But what I got from that article, like first of all, I really like to like read long form posts about it. Like I don't even have a Twitter account because I don't believe that you can have a good opinion on something in like 80 characters or whatever the limit is on Twitter. I mean, they make like long, they reply to themselves on Twitter. But anyway, so I liked reading this post, especially because he mentioned all the relationships between what is transaction standardness, what is mempool policy, relay policy, like how all of this is connected. And what I understood is that transaction standardness is just a part of mempool policy, which is itself part of the relay policy. And then he also explained, yeah, like here, like unconfirmed transactions will be dropped by Bitcoin Core. Like there are all these rules that are like not like you can have them in a block. So your node will be okay with these transactions if they are in a block. But I think it won't relay them itself for various reasons. So he gave 3 reasons. One reason is like you don't want to get spammed by a node, like denial of service protection.
Mm-hmm.
Some fields in a transaction are also reserved, or like we can use them for soft forks later. So it kind of makes sense to say, hey, don't use this. Maybe later we will use that for something else.
Yeah.
And yeah, just also to tell people, hey, don't do this. This is dumb. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's a good explanation. And sort of like a little bit of how I like to abstract this and think about this is that, so there's like consensus and then there's policy. And part of policy is transaction standardness that we talk about.
Yes.
And so I think of these as like consensus is like the laws of physics in Bitcoin.
Oh.
You can't break consensus. It just is a law that's like, to break it means that you're leaving the realm of Bitcoin. You're leaving the Bitcoin dimension to break consensus. But then there's policy, and policy is more like, I mean, the laws of a given state or a jurisdiction. It might change. It might be different when you go from one place to another place. And it's more of like the policies trying to standardize for consensus, but it's a lot more loose than the consensus itself. And so you can have scenarios where, in fact, there's lots of scenarios where a transaction fits within the consensus. It can get mined into a block. It's a valid transaction. For example, like when Super broadcasted, he got a transaction mined that had 0 sats input and 0 sats output. Nope. This is a transaction that if he broadcasted it, no node in the world would have accepted it because it was non-standard. It was only the policy that said you could not have 0 amount input and output. But it was in the consensus, it was allowed. So he, instead of broadcasting his transaction to all the mempools, all of our nodes, he just went right to a miner and was like, hey, here's my piece of JSON. Go mine it into your next block and I'll give you $20 or something like that.
Like payment out of band.
Out of band, yeah. And so this kind of, hits at the core of like all the discussion. But that's just a little bit of like it's not a full analogy, but it's a little bit of like how I like to see it. It's like the consensus is like the laws of gravity, and policy, I mean, a little bit more changing, a little bit more loose and tight sometimes, and then we're obviously still arguing about it.
Yeah, maybe it's like a dress code, like you should dress like that, or maybe I should start with like you can dress however you want, but at some point people will kick you out.
Yeah,
will fork away.
yeah, like maybe in the city, yeah, you can wear what you want, no shoes, no shirt, that's fine. But if you go into this nice restaurant, that's against the policy. So
and the block,
you know, you're allowed to exist on the street, but you're not allowed in my restaurant.
We had the top comment from Simple Stacker. He said, the one thing I'm not really seeing in this article is what the benefit of expanding op return limits are. If people storing data in the witness script can do it more cheaply than having the data in the op return, why wouldn't they just continue to do that? Peter Todd came in and said the article explains that reason here. And then he quotes that. He says, we're removing this limit rather than just raising it because we don't want to have this ridiculous discussion every time someone finds a new reason to use a little more. And then Simple Stacker says, makes sense, thanks. And then Django comes in and says, no, Peter, this isn't a valid reason. And then he talks about ZK rollups, aka they work on using Bitcoin as a data layer, even just one glance at their main slogan. And then PyCan jumps in. So can you guys explain to me why Django came in and said that isn't a valid reason, or at least give me that understanding?
So Peter is basically arguing that because op return is where we want to store, we want extra data to be stored in Bitcoin transaction. And let me actually step back further. There are 3 ways that you can store extra data in a Bitcoin transaction. Kind of slip in data for some reason or another. Maybe you're doing a protocol, maybe it's a proof, whatever. There's 3 places you can do it. There is the witness, there is the op return, and then there is the outputs. And so the witness is what has a discount, and the witness only gets revealed when it's being spent out of. So if I want to put data into the witness, I need to spend into a transaction and then spend out of it to reveal that witness. It's kind of like the big reveal. So it takes 2 transactions. But inside of that witness, I have a discount, a 4 times discount, which there were reasons that was introduced during SegWit. And actually Luke is the one to do it, funny enough. So that's the witness. We've got op return. Op return is pretty straightforward. It's a way that in a single transaction, I can have a provably unspendable output, an op return, that just has this extra data. You just see it at the end. And really a node can prune these. I'm almost positive. Someone check me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe you can prune them.
I think so too, but yeah, I don't know.
yeah, because like that's the point. It's explicitly an unspendable output. And the developers, they put that there because people were starting to put data in there. Like, let's just account for this and make like a good secure default for people to put data in. Okay, so witness, op return, and then the final one is the outputs. And this is what Citria is doing, which is really precarious. Unspendable outputs. So they're basically making fake transactions where the output that is supposed to spend out of it is actually a fake key. It's really data. And so they're using the output field for storing data when it is supposed to be used for basically spinning out of that transaction. And so this causes a bloat in the UTXO set.
And that's what Django is saying.
Kind of. So this is what like Peter Todd, when he's talking about Citria, this is what Citria is doing for their protocol, is they're creating unspendable outputs. And kind of Peter Todd and Jameson Lopp, like their argument is that we want to incentivize people to go over to op return because they're starting to do this unspendable output. Therefore, we need to make these changes, basically removing the option for node runners to be able to filter those op returns. So you can see how it's really.
Are they trying to drive that data into a certain? It almost seems like they're to me, this is just me a dumb pleb talking, but it seems like they're trying to push that traffic somewhere else or something. Like they're trying to move that data to a different, because you described 3 different.
Yeah, that is a good way of thinking. They're trying to incentivize it like,
Yeah.
oh no, please don't do unspindable outputs. If we change op return and make op return way more liberal and way more accepted, then you'll use op return and that will be better for the long-term state of Bitcoin than if we keep using these unspindable outputs.
Okay, so they are trying to move it in a certain direction then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it's about incentives, and we've opened this door when we started trying to engineer incentives with like the witness discount introduced in SegWit. Inscriptions, which was not the original, but the recent big era of putting data on the chain, inscriptions abuse that reality of there being a discount in the witness to store data in that witness. And then, man, don't we look like a fool? We're giving a discount for people to come squat on our land, basically.
Like the whole Bitcoin is only for money versus now people use it for data.
Totally. And there's a little bit of self-own. And one of the reasons that we even had that witness discount was to disincentivize unspindable outputs in like another era. So this is a problem that's reemerging. And I guess before we like talk through any more details, I'll just say like my high level opinion is that there's kind of multiple layers of conversation going on here.
Yeah.
There's the specific conversation of this particular change.
Yeah.
This PR that people are arguing about. There's this about standardness rules at all.
Yeah, we'll jump into it. So
Yeah,
this is the number 5 top story, and like we were saying, Stackers, this is there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
But I have a question regarding the UTXO set. Like,
well, I think there's another story coming with that. We got a lot to get through, and we're only like 30. We're already 30 minutes in. Yeah, this is going to be a long one. Okay. All right, cool. So number 5, that was number 5 top story. So that was from Antoine Poinsot. Is that how you pronounce his name? Somebody correct me on that. Sure.
I'm not gonna try.
Okay.
something like that.
Something like that. The next number 4 top story of the week was my high level synopsis of the recent op return debates. This is from Unschooled Bitcoin Territory. This was 6 hours ago. 22 comments, so it's kind of snuck in. 1981 sats. EK, what's this? I've never heard of op return before.
So this is also about OP return.
Wow, what is that?
I have to admit I did not get to read this article.
What?
But I like.
Keyan is able to do this every week. He's able to read everything right before the show. And you sub in 1 week, and
it's kind of like pretty impressive to get into the top 5 of the week in 7 hours.
I'm just saying. We have
schooled.
We have levels here. All right, keep going.
I remember that I read the first part, like with the whole analogy with art in a city. Like basically the quote from Stephen Livera in the post is about, imagine you have people drawing on walls, or like you have a wall that is meant to be drawn on in a city with graffiti, but then people are like, oh, I need more space. And then they just start spraying graffiti in places the city doesn't want them to spray graffiti. And the idea is to instead ban them from doing that stuff. We just give them the opportunity to we just expand the art wall. So I'm not entirely sure if I agree if that's a good analogy, but I definitely like analogies because they make they help to get closer to the problem.
Yeah.
So basically now we can argue, is that a good analogy? And why is that not a good analogy? I think it's not a good analogy because it's about art, and now we can argue our inscriptions art should be fine with them on chain. But yeah, what do you think?
Well, Yeah, I mean that's a different layer of the conversation, kind of like I was saying, you know, a lot of conversations here. What is spam? What is economical? What is Bitcoin for? Is Bitcoin inclusive of art and other meta protocols and use cases? Is it only economic? Is having an opinion on that wrong in the first place because you're asserting your opinion on something you can't control? Like in a sense, it would be dumb of us to say that Bitcoin's not for art when people are posting art on Bitcoin outside of our control, following the consensus that we agree with, right? So it's like it becomes very nuanced in that regard.
Yeah, I think maybe to like improve this analogy, it would be like we want to give them a space to make their art, but we make it easy to also remove it. So like we can reuse the art wall over and over again. Does that make sense? Like because the OP return stuff, we can just prune it, so node runners don't have to deal with it as much as if they put it into the UTXO set. And I think that's what my question was before. Like the bad part about UTXO set bloat is that it's like inexpensive memory, like in the like the random access memory. Like it's it's basically indexing all the unspent transaction outputs.
Yeah, so I don't understand this post compared to the last post. Like, what's the difference between this post and the last post? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. I'm sure the stackers are lost too. Like,
I mean,
what's this post about compared to the last post we just talked about?
he's trying to break down what's happening with Core, Citria, Knots, and then kind of the fears of why this changed.
Okay, so break down to me like what's Core, what's Citria, what's Knots? Like explain that to the plebs. Like what are these three things?
So Core is Bitcoin Core. This is where this PR is taking place and a change is being proposed. So let's just literally I can read, this is the change being proposed in this PR that everyone started arguing over, right? That's why these stories
and that's this place right here, right?
No.
I know it's on GitHub.
It's that right there.
Okay, so this is where so
Yep.
re-say that all over again.
So let me just explain what this PR does. This PR, it removes a max op return relay limit, and it removes this data carrier and data carrier size configuration option.
Okay, gotcha. And Citria is who?
And they're saying they're doing this because they want to open up and make op return more accessible.
Which we just talked about.
Yeah, okay, they want people to use op return and specifically
to move traffic in a certain way.
For putting data into transactions. And specifically, this is being brought about because of Citria, which is an L2.
Oh, it's
a company.
Right? Kind of, yeah. They're claiming, I think it's something around like a BitVM roll-up.
Sounds shitcoiny.
Type of L2.
Sounds shitcoiny. Okay, shitcoin. And then what's the other one you said?
But and Citria is the one creating unspendable outputs to make their protocol work. And that's I don't want to say it's scared, but it alarmed the core developers to say, hey, we need to change this incentive so that they use op return and we can keep that option available to them and they don't bloat the UTXO set, like EK was saying, by these unspendable outputs.
Okay, and then who's the third? You said Knots, and then explain to everybody what Knots is.
So Knots is an alternative implementation of Bitcoin, alternative to Bitcoin Core. It is being built by Luke Dash Jr., who is a proponent of anti-spam, meaning he's very strong in the belief that all of this extra data is spam, and he wants to do everything he can to keep it out of Bitcoin. So, you know, think of him as the more right-wing side of things, more orderly.
So who's funding all these people? Because that's what I want to know. Like who's funding? Like who's funding Knots? Who's funding Citra? Then who's funding?
It's and
who's funding the core team?
It's so good thing you bring up here. I'm just realizing how many sides there are to the story. It's insane.
Well, this is where like I think you need somebody who's like doesn't have skin in the game. Like I have no skin in the game other than just holding Bitcoin. So that's my skin in the game.
I don't have any skin in the game. Yeah. So Citria, this was not hidden. People acted like it was hidden. It was a big reveal. But Jameson Lopp was one of the investors in Citria.
Oh, ding, ding, ding,
And
ding,
he, yeah, of course, is in support and making lots of
follow
very
incentives,
reasonable,
stackers. Follow incentives.
very reasonable
They never
arguments.
lie. They never lie.
And so, you know, this is an easy thing to point out. Oh, there's obviously conflict of interest.
Total conflict of interest. There's
Jameson
only
Lopp,
conflict of interest in Bitcoin.
Jameson Lopp has addressed this. I suggest that if you are going to be a critic and call conflict of interest, at least read what he has to say about it and try and be balanced. But, you know.
I'm not balanced. All right, keep going. What's the other? Who's core? Who's
Knots?
So Bitcoin Knots, I don't really, I mean, it was just started, I don't think, with any funding whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
Luke is the one
so no one's
that
funding.
forked it.
So no one's funding Luke.
I don't know.
Do you
Well,
know?
no, that's not. I'm pretty sure Luke has gotten grants and funds. I have no idea on the status of
Okay.
Luke
So
or
we don't know?
Knots
Question mark.
funding. But yeah, I mean, comparing Knots to Core, Knots has 1% of the, you know,
we don't know who's funding. We don't know who's
maintainers.
funding Luke, basically.
I mean, he's
Well, Luke
funding himself, I guess.
Yeah, he's funding
Funding
himself.
himself,
Like
okay.
Ocean, he's the CTO.
So he's funding
Maybe.
himself, it sounds
Ocean.
like. Okay.
Yeah.
And then who's funding Core?
A lot of people.
So a lot of people are funding Core. Okay, there you
Yeah,
go.
The,
We figured it out.
the
Grants.
WEF.
So we figured it out.
Um,
All right, so I think I understand. I think I
So
understand
the
this. I
debate
think
is
I understand this post now. It sounds like people are trying to get a high level understanding of why this change is even being talked about and why they're making it in the first place.
yeah,
It sounds like it's all around Citria.
Can I and
Yeah,
and it's a bigger conversation. Let me just close it off since I know
Yeah.
there's too much here. But
So much drama, dude.
yeah, just this is, if you're thinking, what do I get from this?
I get nothing from this.
Keep in mind that at the end of the day, we want as many people to run nodes as possible. Every node has its own mempool, and these nodes are communicating transactions across these different mempools, right? Mempool is like an auction house. This is a very important and dynamic concept in Bitcoin. This is like a battleground. It is an arena, the mempools, and you can assert certain controls over your mempool, and the policy for mempools is still being decided in real time. So it's like that's really what's going on here, and what's at stake is the peer-to-peer network of transactions, and then the incentives for how transactions get chosen by miners. So I just want to call out that Bitcoin Core, their fears are that not making this change will lead to miner centralization for various reasons. Yes, because it will incentivize people to go around the mempools because of the mempool's strict standardness rules and go directly to the miners, making it where the mempools are like the public bazaar that all the plebs have access to. But then there's this exclusive, white glove OTC desk that only the big dogs get to go to.
Wait. Say that again. I'm sorry. Say that again slower. So you're telling me the reason Peter Todd and the rest of these people want to make this change is because it doesn't lead to mining centralization?
No, because they believe they want to make this change because they believe that without this change, we will have more miner centralization. Because they're basically saying Citria and everyone else that wants these alternative use cases, they are more and more going to go around the mempool directly to the miners. And then that's going to create this kind of dual market where there's the open market of the mempools, and then there's the private, paid, closed off market of going directly to the miners. And so I kind of equate it to like the public bazaar that all of us plebs have, the mempools that we can all see into. And then there's this like white glove OTC desk going direct to the miners that you can do if you have money.
Oh, wow. So you're saying like the privatization of Bitcoin versus like the public?
A little bit, but kind of both sides believe that either path leads towards miner centralization.
You should write this out. Has anybody written about this part?
I mean, that's what the people are trying to do. It's complicated.
Dude, that's a whole nother can of worms.
I mean, if you go to
Because what if are they
mempool.space,
telling the truth? You
Well-
think they're telling the truth?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, well, in a sense, like
Has Peter Todd expressed this?
yes, it has been expressed.
Oh, wow.
It's here.
it's not a
Interesting.
secret.
I haven't heard that. Yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like we want the open marketplace to be the number one place for all the economic activity to go, so that a small pool, a small miner, a small pleb can have the same view of the transactions
Yeah.
as Marathon, right? And the worry, there's only a few tiny transactions, and sorry, not tiny, but there's only a few transactions and a few parties that go directly to the miners today. It's not the most popular thing to go directly to the miners. Most people are still going into the mempool, or even if they do go to the miners, they also go to the mempool. And all of us plebs can see into the mempool. But the fear around this change, really on both sides, is that it will more and more incentivize people to go directly to those miners and go around to the free market. And then if the miners control the mempools, right, or they have the best view of the mempool, what kind of future is that? What is the future of the mempools? And of course, this is what we're going to discuss this coming week at Bitcoin Plus Plus with all of the Bitcoin experts in the world. So I'm excited for those conversations, but it's a really big idea. It's a really big, what happens. And it's important to note, this has always been the case. You've always been able to go directly to the miners, but there hasn't always been the reasons. So these two marketplaces have kind of always existed, the private and the public. But now things are getting heated. There's more use cases. We're battling over those use cases.
Now that there's nation states involved, and now that there's like the deep state involved, the tethers of the world.
Exactly.
Now you're actually like fighting for like for what's perceived power and greed and stuff like that.
Yeah, and people are saying, my section of the open market, my mempool, I don't want transactions like that in my mempool. I'm going to keep you away.
Yeah.
Right. And mempools are looking more and more different. So that's kind of the big overarching battle.
It's a very disgusting thing.
We'll close it there.
It's a very disgusting thing, really, to be honest. I don't like it. It's kind of one of those things like whenever you have something that's pure and people. Keyan wrote about, or he shared a post this week about that. I don't know if you read it. It was like the psychopath one, or the
right, yeah, geeks,
the one,
mobs,
yeah,
and psychopaths.
Yeah, that one. And it's kind of that post where it was kind of talking about that, where the psychopaths come in, they kill a pure thing, but it's it's just very
and distort stuff.
Well, I know you're not this way, Car, but don't start accusing, don't start jumping to conclusions. Keep your mind open. It's very easy to say these people are corrupt, this is a conflict of interest, this stinks, this is evil. Time will tell, but either way, we're being called to pay attention and wake up and learn. And so I think now is the time to do that. And I hope I did the topic justice, but
yeah, I'm listening. That's why I'm here. Cool. Let's jump into the number. We're still not done. Oh Lord.
Wait, is
this is the same, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna jump into number 3 top story. Oh yes, a break.
Nice.
Break. Number 3 top story of the week. This is, I interviewed 10 Venezuelans to find out what they know about Bitcoin from Malos 10, April 29th, 26 comments, 6,591 sats. This is a Bitcoin territory post from let me lower that. So EK, you want to explain what this is?
Yes. So I did watch it, at least the beginning, and what I got from it is that I was positively surprised by their answers, but it's also not surprising because people from different countries have different opinions on Bitcoin. Like they have their different realities, or how their money works, how volatile their currency is. So it kind of makes sense that I have seen nobody really not against Bitcoin at all. Like they were actually pretty open-minded in accepting it. But currently most of them just use USDT and Binance, and like it sounds like for them, Bitcoin is when you use Binance.
Yeah. So I saw it too, and it was hilarious. Like Binance went out there, set them up with like USDT. Didn't explain Bitcoin, didn't explain any of this stuff, and just like they're just using USDT.
Yeah,
It's so
like,
sad, dude.
so I guess
It's like no one wants you. It's like no one wants South America, Latin America to have Bitcoin. It's like the poor's. You can have fake USD. The elite can only have Bitcoin. That's the way it is, and so you got to get used to it.
but I'm not sure is anybody really stopping them from using
No,
Bitcoin.
I mean because they're psyop to believing that they're always going to have fake USD, and you're not good enough to have Bitcoin. And that's a psyop. They have to. And they're doing it to themselves. It's just. I talk to Francisco about this all the time. Like you have to mentally flip that switch, and Americans are going to own all the Bitcoin in the world. It's just where it's headed. It's an elite thing. I don't think people are realizing what's happening. You can call me crazy, but I think that's where we're headed, and it's unfortunately the case.
I mean, the elites, whoever that is, definitely gonna
It's
try.
us. It's us.
I am part of the elite.
Well, you're here in America, aren't you?
Oh,
You think
cool.
you're leaving this
I know.
country?
I know. In Germany, you have to like burn wood in your house to stay warm or whatever.
Where do you
Oh,
think,
yeah, like yeah,
Austin was
I
saying
have
earlier about
electricity
all
at
these
home.
mempool and all these discussions next week? Where do you think it's happening? It's happening in Austin. Like, where do you think all this talk is happening? Like, it's like this is not a coincidence. Like, they're doing this stuff for a reason.
But we are the elite who actually want them to use Bitcoin, right?
No, I'm saying I'm saying when all is said and done, they want centralization in America. They want Bitcoin to stay in America. They want it as a reserve currency. They want America wants Bitcoin to stay here. Like they want control of Bitcoin.
Bitcoin made
yeah.
in America. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
they want it here. So
I'm
they
kissing
want to
the
control it. So the poors can't have it. And
yeah, that goes
that's the
also-
future that they want. I'm just saying that's the truth. And no one wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to pretend that it doesn't exist. Oh, that's not happening, Car. You're crazy. I'm like, dude, like
I mean, many things are happening at the same time.
Like it's the most obvious thing in the world. But anyways, I said that in the comments. He's like, oh, that's not happening there. I'm like, cool, dude, keep lying to yourself.
Oh, I also have a personal story. So I have a sister, and I didn't get her into Bitcoin. She just came to me one day, asked me about it, and yeah, then we talked about it, like how to like self custody, and I gifted her a Trezor. But I also didn't like really care. Like I wanted her to make her own, like give her time to make her own experience using it.
Yeah.
And at like years later, she was shocked when she realized that to withdraw from Binance, they have like high fees. So now she's kind of stuck in Binance. She has to like sell, like if things selling Bitcoin on Binance and then withdrawing via fiat is like cheaper than to withdraw it over the Bitcoin network.
Yeah.
And I think I remember telling her about it, but at the time, like, wasn't that important about withdrawing your Bitcoin. But yes, so that's like, yeah, Binance has a pretty tight grip on people, I think.
Yeah.
They even have like their own shitcoin.
Yeah. Austin, you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty nuanced. As much as I agree with you, it's kind of like it's very shady how people they come over to the most vulnerable and they give them like the first solution of like USDT, and then it stops there. And in a way, it seems because it's Binance doing it, it seems predatory. It feels predatory, but in another sense, like one of the guys in the interview was saying, you know, I take Tether payments. It helps me. At first, I converted it to Bolivars immediately, and now I save it. And after a few weeks of saving it, I'm able to pay my bills. And so, it's I think there's a way you can look at it and say that like these people are using it as a better money, and they are giving themselves kind of more freedom and more sovereignty. and usurping kind of their local jurisdictions and the limits through cryptocurrency, right? Through as much as we might have critiques about that. And, you know, I guess my positive hope is that that's step one for them, is that step one, they can see, okay, there are digital currencies. They can outperform my local currency, and I can use it to protect myself and my family. And hopefully they take that to the next step beyond Tether and they move on to Bitcoin. And I guess our fear is that, you know, is that Tether and stuff like this will become replacement for most of the world for Bitcoin instead of just being a stepping stone.
Yeah, I don't. I appreciate that response, but we've seen it multiple times in previous times where, like in 2018, Cardano tried doing this to Africa, and they gave people Cardano, and they did the exact same thing. We just saw it here recently with WorldCoin, where WorldCoin did that. They had everybody scan their eyeballs, and they gave them WorldCoin coin, and then they now they're doxxed with their ID. Like, we see this time and time again with shitcoins. This is what they do. Now they're kind of doing the same thing with Tether, and this is just going to lead to the proliferation of the dollar in every jurisdiction, every nook and cranny of the global space. And I think personally that this is just kind of the similar playbook that they did with gold. This is how they suppressed gold's price for, you know, the past 50 years, and they're doing the same playbook. They're doing the exact same game. ETFs, same thing, the exact same thing, suppressing it, custodialship, the whole playbook. It's straight out of the 1960s, 1970s playbook, and I think people just aren't paying attention. The only difference, the only saving grace we have is just that Bitcoin's on the internet and there's cypherpunks, and there's a strong pleb movement, but that's it.
I just think it's a bit of an overgeneralization. Like, I agree with the sentiment on so many things, but I just think it actually is more nuanced than that. When you talk to the people, when you look at the use cases, when you look deeper into Tether, it's very nuanced.
Yeah, I think the people want it.
Juan wants to say something. Hang on, let me switch. We don't have a camera for you, Juan, but here you go. Oh, Juan's from Bitcoin Magazine. Just so people know who's
appeal to authority.
Yes. See, we get all sides here at Stacker.News Live.
Well, I mean, I just want to point out that Venezuela was very early on mining Bitcoin. They mined a lot of Bitcoin illegally until it became officially illegal. Then they mined it legally. Then their president launched the shitcoin. So I don't think you can argue that Venezuelans are not aware of Bitcoin. Dash did a lot of marketing there, so they're aware of shitcoins. And again, like, they mined Bitcoin very early on. So I do there. It may be that there is power interests that are trying to use Tether as a way to extend dollar hegemony. In fact, this is no conspiracy theory. Paulo literally tweeted it out the other day. So he was like, Tether is great for extending dollar hegemony. Like, he literally tweeted it out. So that's no secret at all. But like, I think that the point of self-reflection is the reason people have not adopted Bitcoin in these countries is in part because of the volatility. Because poor people that are trying to escape the Venezuelan inflation are just trying to find something that's secure, that where they can hang on for a little bit and just fucking stack some more money, right? And the volatility in Bitcoin is tricky, and I think the fee spikes that we saw in 2017 pissed off at a lot of Latin Americans. I mean, I talked to a lot of them at the time, and they were like, "Dude, I can't be paying $30 fees. This is ridiculous." And so there's been experiences that they've had with Bitcoin that have turned them off. And I think nobody's really doing like customer research in these markets, trying to understand what happened. And I think that's kind of where we need to do a little bit of little self-reflection on what that looks like for people, because it's very easy to get caught up in narratives, and I think there's actually a gap of knowledge, I think.
Thanks for that. And I want to add 2 points to that. I think part of that is time preference. Like, these people are operating at a higher time preference, and Bitcoin really isn't that great in short time spans. Tether's better in that high time preference environment.
Get out of here.
So we want them to move to lower. time
How
preference.
dare you?
Okay, one last thing. I think there's two sides of financial privilege here. One side is we are overprivileged in telling people don't use Tether, you should be using Bitcoin, right? And then there's literally the opposite of that, of like don't use Tether because it's adding to dollar hegemony or whatever. It's like these people, they're not at the level of like caring about our ethos about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So us saying, no, we're trying to help you, don't use Tether, skip over it and go right to Bitcoin. That's kind of like a point of financial privilege that they're almost not at yet. And if it's like they're saying we want and we need dollars, get out of here with your narratives about Bitcoin. We don't have time to consider that, you know. I think that could be kind of like the other side of the argument, and that I've heard people steelman before, but you know, what do I know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say like when you're just trying to survive, you don't care about the global level of whatever. And yeah, it's like a privilege to even be able to save money.
Yeah, it's like I'm just trying to like struggle and keep food in the pantry, and then some health bro in Austin comes around and is like, "What? You're not sunning your balls? You have to sun your balls, bro,
Yeah.
or else you can't be healthy."
I
Like,
mean,
come on, I'm just trying to stay
at
fed.
the end of the day, we're all gonna have our different opinions for different reasons because of our different backgrounds, and that's what makes Bitcoin fucking great. So fuck you guys. I'm right. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, okay, let's jump into the next top story. The number 2 top story is JPEGs or no. Oh my gosh, we got more.
No
JPEGs or no JPEGs. Bitcoin dies with free pressure. That is the truth. 02857 something. May 1st. Bitcoin territory. 41 comments. 70k boost. 2,354 sats. EK, what's this?
Yes.
Oh,
so this
no.
is also about OP return,
Oh,
but
really? What is
think,
op return? I've never
I
heard
think it
of
doesn't
it.
even mention OP return in here. It's just like the higher level. The picture. Oh, you know them. Okay.
Well, he works for Bitcoin Magazine. Of course he knows them.
So yeah, this is mostly about like on-chain and fees and how they are important for like security of the network.
Okay.
And yeah, I like that this post comes from like a different angle. Like it's not about the technicals, like not the deep details of this specific change,
Yeah.
but just in general, like miners are getting paid for a reason, and that is important, that reason. And but yeah, it just looks bad that a block is literally just one image. And but I don't know how much did they pay for the image? Was it even much?
Well, total fees.
It looks like 1,600. Oh no, subsidy and fees.
Oh yeah, like just less than 2K.
Dude, that looks like money laundering, bro.
For filling
Straight
a
up
block.
money laundering. If I ever.
So
seen
did
it.
they go directly to what is this marathon?
Hang on, let me go back.
I know the guys.
All right, hang on, talk about it. What?
I literally know the guys that made this. Like they're Canadians. They're from Toronto.
Did you?
One of them DM'd
What's their
me and he
address?
was like, "Yo, how do I pump this?" And I was like, "I can't help you." But we talked about it for a while, and yeah, they spend like $3,000. They think that it's awesome. Actually, the art is pretty cool. If you go to the ordinal address, it's an HTML5 comic book which contains the image asset, so you can click through it. It's like an interactive thing.
Mhm.
Artistically, I think it's sick. Whether you hate it because it's on the blockchain, I guess you're allowed to hate it. You have the right to hate it, but I don't think this is money laundering. These guys don't need money. They're just they're flush.
It's just about sending a message.
Yeah, it's about
And they didn't even pay much.
What's the subsidy part, Austin?
That's the Coinbase subsidy, or that's the block reward. Subsidy plus fees.
But so
Yeah, they paid
Yeah,
like,
because you're looking at the full block view.
okay.
like 3 million sets. Yeah, to have their image. I read on. I'm not on Twitter, but I still see some stuff from Twitter, and I think that was on Twitter. Someone said like they aren't reading the room. Like this is not the time. But I think they made it. I think it's actually on purpose that this happened right now.
Oh yeah.
So they did read the room. They just decided to do the opposite of what you would think.
Totally. And I'm in support of this, and the fact that I'm in support of people. If I have a vulnerability, I want you to poke at that vulnerability so that I feel it and am aware of it. And I see no difference, almost no difference between an attack on Bitcoin and a contribution on Bitcoin. And so, yeah, I mean, this is just, JPEG submitted to a miner, right?
Yeah.
Anyone can do it. It's not really a sophisticated thing, but it's like, yeah, please keep flaunting this capability, because it needs to be at the forefront of our minds, because it's a big conversation of the future of Bitcoin and what is going to be on the chain. What are we going to allow on the chain? What can we even do about it?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
Looks
like we got our Tilakit, the top comment. He says, I'm not against them being able to do it. The ship has sailed. I think in this case, the issue is taking this decision about what's in someone's mempool away from the node runner. There's also this issue is how Core is coming across with this decision. This ivory towerism, condensation, and holier than thou shoot coming from Core's Kraus. Frankly, I'm pretty shocked at the behavior.
Condescension.
And then OP says, I agree completely, regardless of the default policy. Choices are for node runners with regards to arbitrary data should be clear, easy to understand, and optional by the person running the software.
So this is actually a good comment, and I want to highlight what he's saying. Was it articulate? I can't read.
Yeah, articulate.
This is very close to where my opinion lies right now, which is that, like, I acknowledge that people can do this and that this is a part of Bitcoin's rules, and that's okay. But I want the controls on my node to be able to relay or not relay that, 4 megabyte transaction and allow it or not allow it in my mempool. And that's kind of the nuanced place that I fall into. And it seems like these people are kind of falling somewhere close. It's like, okay, this is allowed in Bitcoin. This is allowed in consensus rules. So be it. But let me have the control over my node to where I would never relay this transaction. And I at least have that control on my own node. And they feel that Bitcoin Core has this ivory tower condescending mindset about, no, you just don't understand it. You don't need that control. We're just going to take it away. And I think this is maybe part of the pleb reaction against Core, is like that feeling. Of course, it's a feeling, it's emotional, but this is a little bit where I'm landing right now on, like, the outcome I want is like, yeah, use the op return, please. Do what you want with your mempool. Let me do with mine what I want. But yeah, highlighting the fees here. I guess one other thing to say here is that, like, this goes back to the tried and true argument of mining fee death spiral of, like, will fees be too high or will fees dwindle to nothing?
Yeah, we also have Merch. He came in and says, hey, may I ask what you perceive the sense of condensation? Is this coming from reading the PR comments, the mailing list thread, or are you getting that sense via the conversation others are having about the situation? ? And then Articulate said, from the active participants on X and Nostr primarily. And then Merch says, I see, thanks. In case that you are spending a lot of time being angry about this, I suggest that you read the discussion on the mailing list. I think it's fair, readable, and doing so would allow you to form your own opinion on the thoughts brought up in style discussion. Dude, so I'll agree with Merch personally right here. Like, you guys, and I'll just say this for the room. You guys are all on Twitter, and dude,
I'm not on
that's
Twitter.
a cesspool, dude. and then also, like, I'm not on Nostr nearly as much, but it sounds like a cesspool too more now. Dude, I'm on Stacker.News this day. Nothing's living rent free in my head. Like, I think there's a lot of people, like, getting upset because of what they see on Twitter and Nostr these days. And I think Merch is right about this. Like if there's a conversation, if, like, people are getting triggered because they're reading Twitter and they're reading Nostr, that's on them.
Well, I'll say I got triggered when I read the GitHub. I got triggered when I read the PR.
Merch is saying go to the groups though.
Totally. And this is what people should do. Look at the source material instead of people's takes on the source material. I absolutely totally agree with Merch on that. You need to read through these threads before you go off and shooting your opinion off.
Yeah, because it's one thing to argue. Like you guys always tell me, like, oh, Car, you're arguing, like, who are they connected to and all this stuff. Yeah, it's one thing just because we're having a podcast and discussion. That's another thing to argue, actually, like, what are we talking about here? Like, especially next week when you guys have these debates and stuff, like, you're going to have to stick to the facts, which is all laid out here. You're going to have to argue these facts against other facts. And at the end of the day, at least how I understand computer science from school, is it's all based off of this stuff. It's not based off of, you know, conspiracy shit that we say on podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no
At
feelings.
least, like, there's no feelings and there's no emotions tied to computer science. Like, all computer science is just research and development. And
I mean,
and all,
yes,
and,
except for
fact.
Bitcoin. And like, you can
Really?
I'm not gonna put my neck on the line because it's not worth it. But my sense, I didn't need to look at X to realize that there is a significant ethos difference on the two different sides of this argument, and it is not strictly technical. There is a technical side of the argument, and I'm not speaking to articulate. I'm speaking to my experience. When I read the GitHub thread, I read the mailing list. We went and we looked into Citria's white paper. I looked at how Citria is using unspindleable outputs. We argued about it all day yesterday, and I just want to say that, like, I think that.
But I'm saying, Austin, like, these people that build out these protocols and stuff, like, they have computer science backgrounds and they have these degrees, and that's where they come from. And so, like, and the way I understand it, because I took courses in computer science in college, like, they base everything off of, like, research. And help me here, EK, because I know you have a degree in this, and and that's different than me, Car, podcasting on Fridays for an hour every week, talking about conspiracy theories and, like, you know, connecting the dots and stuff like that. That's just me having fun with my friends. What I'm saying is, like, they're gonna go to what Merch is talking about. Like, they're gonna go here and they're gonna talk about all this stuff because this is stuff that they've been working on for the past year and a half, 2-3 years. And yes, there's definitely stuff that's tied to these things. There's stuff like Citria and people that pay their jobs and stuff like that, because, you know, but at the end of the day, like, these people have, I would imagine, I don't know anything, but I would imagine they have research that they've been doing for the past year and a half. That I mean, I know Blockstream, doesn't Blockstream pay core devs or Lightning Core devs to do research? Like,
Look, there's a lot of research.
Some of that
there's a lot of context. You're right. There's a lot of technical realities at play here, but you are very wrong in the sense of a lot of the arguments here are about predictions of, if we do this, this might happen. If we do this, it opens up this incentive. This goes outside of the realm of computer science. If we were arguing about, the timestamp overflow that's going to happen in Bitcoin in like 200 years or whatever, that's a computer science problem. Like, we're going to run out of bytes and the timestamp's going to get too big, right? We can talk about the timestamp problem within computer science realm, but as soon as we say, well, what do we do about it, and when do we change it, and how do we make people do it, we've left the realm of computer science and we're now into this way more sticky realm.
That's why for me, like, personally, I don't fight the devs on this kind of stuff. If anything, I just listen to y'all. Like, I just listen to y'all, and whatever Austin or Topher you guys say, I believe y'all, and I take y'all's face value on it, and I do it. But, like, if you guys tell me, like, this is the way to go, then I'm going to roll with y'all. But you tell me the other way to roll, I'm going to roll with y'all that way. So whatever. What are you pointing to me?
Well,
Cypherpunks ruled. Topher's pointing. Cypherpunks don't prune. Okay, I'm with you there. Whatever side that's on, I'm with Topher on that. So whatever side here, let me see that side.
Full node.
So I'm on this side, whatever that means. I'm on this side, for the record. And I don't know what that means, but I'm on that side because Topher just told me this is a side to be on. Because I'm an idiot. And I don't know this side, but Topher knows computer science, so I trust him. And that's all I'm saying is, like,
But
Here, fill in EK.
that is a very good transition to what I wanted to say when you asked me to help you. But you mentioned like research, like they research all the stuff.
Yeah.
But now you can like read their research. But a thing that is usually like a bit not talked about much, like you should be able to verify the research.
Okay.
Yes.
So like I can read all this stuff, but the question is still, do I believe? Do I
Yes.
believe them? Do I verify it myself?
Okay,
Like, do
yeah.
I come to the same conclusions?
Okay.
Like, there's research on all kinds of stuff, and research also doesn't agree.
Okay.
Like, there's
Well,
also
then
no
there you go.
consensus sometimes.
There you
What
go.
is
Yes,
the-
and you have agency. It's like if you look, you don't have to care, but if you
It's not
care,
that I don't care. I'm just saying, like, I do-
just mean like the proverbial
Okay.
you.
Okay.
A person doesn't have to care, but if you care, you can and should be able to verify. The PR is open. You can look at the code changes. You can look at the git blame and look at the history of that code that they're changing and the data
Yeah.
carrier flags, all of this.
Well, I just don't like, at the end of the day, like, I just don't like seeing people make fun of people I like. Like, I love merch. Like, I love all you guys. Like, and like, these are people that I respect and I have a lot of love for. And it's very disheartening to see people throw these people under their bus just because they have a disagreement on something. This is not a way to treat each other. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And so you can disagree, you can even argue over these things, but it's one thing to like start crossing the line and call these people names and say things behind their back about their character.
Blessed are the peacemakers. I agree.
Exactly. And that's
Blessed
all I'm
are the
saying.
peacemakers,
And I'm
but
just
fuck
saying-
you and
and-
your shitcoin.
I'm just saying, like, it's like it shouldn't come to that. And I think Bitcoiners usually go to that right away. It's just sad.
I think
And that's why I keep saying, Car, have nuance, keep an open mind. Don't jump to the conclusion of this person's corrupt, these core devs, blah, blah.
I didn't say that.
I'm not saying you said that, but that's just like what I keep throwing in is like, keep an open mind. Yes, this is rough consensus and it's rough. It's rough
Yeah.
play, but we don't have to be completely mean and volatile and toxic to each other.
I don't think so. And that's where like people are getting triggered and it's like, come on, guys.
I think this is like our
Stop being
chance
keyboard
for all
stop
to level
being-
up in
stop
Bitcoin.
stop being mean to each other. All right, cool. I think that's all the stories.
Yeah, we're gonna have
maybe.
to.
Oh
gonna have to,
no!
like,
Wait,
stitch those
wait,
pieces
one
together.
more. The number one story of the week.
Oh.
We're still not done. The number one story this week is what is the difference between a filter and a consensus rule? This is from Wizard Sardine, May 1st, Bitcoin territory. Number 2 comments, 5,603 sats. EK, finally, what's this? I've never heard of
Yes.
this thing before. What is it?
So this is another angle, I would say, on the OP return stuff.
Oh,
But
what
we
is?
also-
Wait,
It's a complex topic. This is
wait,
this is
what-
good. A lot of
wait,
angles.
wait. What is op return? I've never heard of it.
I don't have time to explain it, Car.
Well, see, this is going to be clipped out, so that people are going to be like, "Oh, he's never heard of op return. Wow, he's about to explain op return."
But I think
what's
we
an
might
expo?
had a previous post that was also about like transaction relay policy and stuff. So basically, this post like explains what is consensus and what is not consensus, and like the summary is consensus is what goes into blocks, and yeah, like relay policy is like what you do with your own nodes, like where it doesn't matter for the blockchain.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yes, yeah. Is that the previous post or what was that the post?
I just clicked on the blue link here.
Oh yeah, like there's also the stuff about upgrade hooks. Like that's also what was in the blog post about on relay policy.
Yeah. No, and this is really cool post. This is a good layout of like, yeah, consensus versus policy. Once you understand that, it's like, okay, we're in the realm of policy. Where does this affect? Okay, got it. And then next after that is what specific policy are we talking about? And what does that affect? Right? That's how you start to understand what's going on here.
Yeah, he also explains in the beginning like why even run a node, why does that matter? But I think he left out the part where like you enforce the rules by running a node. I forgot how he explained it, but yeah, I feel like like run your node so you know
Hey,
that you
Sasha,
actually receive
can you grab me
Bitcoin.
a water?
Yeah,
Yes.
because because I can't enforce, if I'm using your node to validate my transactions, I can't enforce you to use a certain rule set, right? Or I can't necessarily enforce or ensure that you're running the Bitcoin rule set. So it's like if I have a node, I have a direct access point to enforce the rule set of Bitcoin as I perceive it.
Yeah, like Bitcoin doesn't have to be a service. You can just run it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I think we about covered it, right? Unless Austin, you
Yeah.
got any last final thoughts?
Nope.
Final thoughts? Are you sure?
No, just
Speak now.
love, and
So what?
pray for
So
you.
okay, I guess the
Yeah,
final
don't,
thing is.
don't be triggered.
So I guess the thing is like, what should the stackers do? Because they wanted to know like what should they do? What should the average pleb that what should they do?
Subscribe
Level
to-
up, advance your knowledge about Bitcoin. This is a signal, the discomfort that you're feeling and the uncertainty and how you're looking around at all of these opinions and spending too much time on X. This is a signal that you are standing not on the foundation of the rock, but you're standing on foundation of sand with your knowledge and your understanding of Bitcoin. And so it's a call to action to get to that next level. And that, I think that's the positive way that everyone can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say go get a node.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Run a node
slay your heroes.
and slay your
say-
heroes. One day,
You can get an umbral
through this
429.
uncertainty, also what I'm thinking is, man, who's the adult in the room? Who's the adult in the room? And am I going to have to be the adult in the room? And who's going to work on core in the future? Who's going to work on other Bitcoin implementations? Will there be other Bitcoin implementations?
they're-
What's the future of policy?
They're 429.
These are
right
actually
now.
in our hands.
Oh, do you know when he started Bitcoin Knots? Was there like a
And
specific
there's also start
reason?
too.
When
Start nine.
and
Yeah,
why?
Let's get a start 9.
I think it was a few years back. Actually, no, Knots is pretty old. Topher, do you know how old Bitcoin Knots is? Yeah.
But do you know, did something happen for him to
Oh wow, start
start
9. Start
working
9's
on
more
Bitcoin
than
Knots?
umbral. Interesting.
Or was it just for fun?
I think it might have started with the spam filter stuff, but if not, it's possible he started it because Luke has other opinions that he wants to bring to Bitcoin Core eventually, such as shrinking the block size.
I like maybe like pre-SegWit stuff, or like during SegWit.
Oh, I don't even remember. I don't remember the realm of all of Luke's ideas, but Bitcoin Knots is sort of the place that I think maybe he imagined that stuff could kind of be built out with rough consensus, but then it's now mainly just become focused on the standardness and filters.
Yeah, there's
So-
also this not Inscription, but some other network where they test out Bitcoin stuff, not Mutiny Net, not Testnet, but some other net with Inquisition Net.
Oh,
Bitcoin Inquisition.
yeah, that's a Signet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a Signet is it's like a test net, but it doesn't simulate mining.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool. Cool. Yeah.
it's pretty.
So Austin's saying run a node, and
Mine Bitcoin.
mine Bitcoin, get a BitAxe, or these CoinOS. What are they called? Those
Delete
things over there?
Twitter.
Delete Twitter for sure.
Subscribe
I would
to
just get off of
Stacker
there.
News
Get on
Live.
Stacker News. I would just get off of Twitter, dude. It's not good for your brain. Cool. We're gonna jump into
Thumbs up, downvote the PR.
we're gonna jump into EK's top stories. EK, your top story was how did Spain's electricity grid collapse?
Oh, I didn't realize that is from Den Lila Pan. But yeah, I liked the post because I am from Europe. And
Really?
I did vote for the Green Party a few years back. So I kind of feel like I have a part in this, even though like I'm not from Spain. But this post was also a little bit funny for me to read. So, or maybe to start again, like I did vote for the Green Party, but I didn't vote for them
is the
because
Green
of the
Party?
Green.
What is the Green? I have no
The Green
idea.
Party. They are like for renewable energies.
These are the
They
people
were
that
founded because of the anti-nuclear movement.
these are people that run Spain or something.
No, the Green Party. I mean, the Green Party in Germany.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if Spain has their own Green Party.
This person, is she a Green Party member?
Yeah, like she doesn't use much electricity.
What's the difference between a Green Party and like a Purple Party or something?
Like green means just green energy, and that means like renewable.
Oh, okay. So you can't use normal like gas or anything?
Yeah, like that's basically where I started to disagree with them, like where I realized I can't vote anyone anymore because I disagree with every party that I can vote for. And so that's when in Germany they shut down all the nuclear energy.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have like more coal, which should be not in the interests of the Green Party. But yeah, it just feels like they are just emotionally reacting to stuff and then like making decisions that actually backfire. For example, like this post. I didn't read the article, but yeah, over time I read stuff about how renewable energy is less reliable because you can't rely on the sun or wind. Like you need some power source as base energy. But I also want to say, like, I'm not an expert on this stuff. Like, I'm not an electrical engineer or anything, but what I heard made sense to me. It's also related to Bitcoin mining. Like, Bitcoin mining, you can just shut down the miners if you need more electricity for other stuff. And that's also where the Green Party, they just won't listen. They just have formed their opinion on Bitcoin mining, and now you can't argue with them about it. There was also the Satoshi Death Skull from, you have like Greenpeace in America. So basically, the Green Party is like Greenpeace, but yeah, you can vote for them to be part of the government. I think that's mostly what I wanted to say.
Yeah, looks like it. Major power grid in Europe collapsed Monday, sparking mass blackouts throughout Portugal, France, and Spain, unfolding just days after Spain declared a renewable energy milestone. How far is Spain from Germany? It's pretty far. Is it walking distance?
France is in between us and
Is it
them.
walking? Is it walking distance or no?
Like takes a few days, I guess, or
okay.
maybe more. I don't know.
It's not bad. Get there through bike.
Hitchhiking, few days.
Well, hopefully everybody's alive. Did they say if anybody died or no? Everybody good?
Hopefully didn't
everybody...
read about that, but I guess people die all the time.
Shorty the grid. What did somebody post here? Looks like somebody posted. There's a good book on fragility of grids, which also addresses wind and solar. Oh wow, cool. I posted this on here. I was posted an Amazon link on a good battery pack, but I guess I posted a different one. Yeah, it's gonna have a couple good battery packs, and then you can just in case.
There was also a funny comment. Like now that the grid shut down, now it's good to have solar panels yourself.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Let's jump into the next story, which was your story, EK. Bitcoin has a brand problem. This is from Koob.
Yes. I still want to talk about this, but I actually didn't get the chance to read this whole article. But just the title already made me think, this is a good post. Because, people... So the problem, I think, is that it's also like a feature that Bitcoin has no leadership. Like anyone can make up their own minds. There's nobody who tells you what is right or wrong. Or you need to find the people you trust. But what is our marketing? What is our branding? How do we... But it's also like a weird topic. Like, does Bitcoin need branding? Does Bitcoin need marketing? like because a big part of Bitcoin's marketing again is that you don't trust verify. Yeah,
Did you
at
read
that
this,
point,
Austin, by chance, or no?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you read it, Ted? Can you tell us what it's about? Thanks, Ted.
Is this the adoption article?
I know Bitcoin has a brand
Yeah.
problem.
So, I mean, basically, he's arguing here that the sort of S-curve adoption has a number of issues, or maybe is even regressing in certain ways, and that kind of calls into question the kind of long-term viability of Bitcoin as a universal store value asset, or like universal kind of world adoption. And yeah, so I read it. I commented on it. I didn't agree with a lot of the assumptions that are kind of in here. Like even in that bold text that's on screen right now, it says perception shapes adoption. So right off the bat, that's an assumption. I don't agree that perception shapes adoption. There's a lot of literature on this. Perception is an aspect of adoption, but there's many aspects of adoption. So I'd encourage anyone who's interested in S-curve, they can read Rogers' Diffusion of Innovations. It's a textbook. It's not a short read, but there are 5 factors of diffusion. It's quite simple. That's a simple graph. And that this individual academic found there's various aspects that correlate to adoption. So it's not as simple as saying like kind of emotional connotation. There's multiple aspects to this. And Bitcoin doesn't score 5 out of 5 on all of them, but it does score well on some of those attributes. So according to Rogers' theory, I would say that the adoption is not going to be super fast, but it still is adopting. It's still.
What's this political entanglement in the freedom paradox part? This looks kind of.
I think this is where he's arguing that because what he argues as the loudest voices are people like Trump.
That they represent. They represent Bitcoin now.
Exactly. So, and you know, one of the counterpoints in the Stacker.News article was that people were saying, "Oh, I don't see this in my feed." So, like, this author is kind of making the claim that this is the kind of a universal representation, that all people are making that association. It's definitely true that there is that association there. I mean, in the U.S., conservatives are adopting Bitcoin much faster than liberals, so there's no question about that. But is it to a kind of a universal degree? I mean, I, for one, when I have conversations with Uber drivers or, you know, friends from back home who are liberals about Bitcoin, I don't encounter a lot of these issues that he is mentioning. But again, I'm coming from a very biased orange pillar type attitude where I'm actively trying to convert people and making the counter arguments. In fact, I've actually noticed the opposite, where certain narratives, so for example, the Bitcoin is bad for the environment narrative is degrading rapidly. And I think Bitcoin's making rapid inroads in that group because that people who care about solar energy, wind energy, I think are kind of switching sides, and they're very they're pro or very open to mining, more so than someone who's not in that industry might think. They might not agree with libertarianism. They might not agree with a lot of things that Bitcoin stands for. But, you know, I do think there's inroads, at least from my perspective. So, you know, I do agree with his conclusion here, where he says that there's a lot of work to be done on the brand. And it certainly doesn't mean that we can just sit back and say, you know, the work here is done. And I also very much agree with his statement around, can this be universally adopted? Like I think there's technical concerns there. So I thought this was a pretty thought-provoking piece on adoption.
Yeah, thanks for the.
Yes, you saved me.
Yeah,
I wanted to talk about it, but you are better.
Yeah, this is good.
I feel like that should also be what you're very interested in, Car.
I think it has I think it should be
politics.
titled, it has a representation problem. I don't know if it has a branding problem. Yeah, it sounds like he's trying to say it has a representation problem.
Is that like...
He probably has ChatGPT, though. It definitely gets you to click on it if it says it has a branding problem. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Ted. That was amazing. Austin, you got any thoughts on it now that Ted's?
Yeah, no, I mean it's on us to keep alive the ethos that we believe in, because it's kind of inevitable that as Bitcoin grows, most people's understanding and ethos of Bitcoin will be just more mainstream, more shallow. So, you know, it's like be a holder of the flame, a keeper of the flame. And like something I was just thinking about that I actually want to watch this weekend is the Cypherpunks Write Code documentary. I think it was from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Really? What is it called?
Cypherpunks Write Code. It's on YouTube. And it's just a cool documentary about the history of cypherpunks. And it's kind of like, at least for me, for my ethos, yeah, look up a documentary. At least for my ethos, this is sort of like, you know, the origin story. Yeah. It's about Tim May and, you know, the original cypherpunks from the 90s and PGP. It's a really cool, like, you know, stylized 45-minute documentary. I was just thinking about it, like, yeah, I want to watch this again. It's been like 4 or 5 years, but it's like, for me, this is the ethos of Bitcoin, these weird-looking nerds. And
whoa.
And yeah, and like this is the ethos that I want to keep alive and think about and be a Renaissance man in the sense of, you know, deeply understanding the roots of
Everybody has
Bitcoin and
beards.
cryptography.
Yeah, and
That's
that
so
it like
cool.
even goes way more back than just Bitcoin. This whole cypherpunk stuff.
Totally, yeah. I mean, it goes back to like, hundreds, thousands of years. Like the problems that we're working on with software are problems, you know, as old as civilization in a lot of cases. And so it's really fascinating. And for me, wanting to understand Bitcoin, it's like these are the deep ideas of history to, you know, consider and contemplate.
Yes, and that like
yeah.
cryptography used to be banned, like, oh, not banned, but it was like considered like ammunition, like bombs.
Yeah, it's considered
couldn't
arms.
export it.
Yeah, and that's when they printed the PGP source code onto T-shirts and into books, and they were like, "Here's your arms. Are you gonna say it's illegal for us to ship this book?" Right, and then they were able to make that beautiful point in court.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool.
That's cool.
And I think it was Adam Beck who printed that T-shirt,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the Blockstream
Yep.
founder. Okay. Yeah.
Yep, Adam Back is a legend. Created
Hashcash.
yeah, basically proof of work. And I don't know if he created no, wait, is it PGP or RSA?
Oh.
Adam Back. Diffie RSA.
I think RSA are the initials of the person, so I think Adam Beck is not in there.
You're right. I think Adam Back either made or refined PGP. It was something to do with PGP and Perl. I think he like implemented PGP in Perl or created PGP and implemented it in Perl. Zimmerman created PGP. Who's in this documentary? Yeah. What did Adam Back do with PGP? I'm forgetting. No, PGP. I think he like implemented it in like an efficient manner to where you could. Anyway.
But yeah, I think RSA was the first public key cryptography system. And I remember my professor in college or university mentioned like when he read about it for the first time, he couldn't believe it. Like, no way you can send stuff securely over an unsecure channel. Like, that just blew his mind.
Yeah.
And like everybody was in shock, and now we just take it for granted.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there's real magic here when I see a lot of these tools of cryptography more and more as like magic spells or like trap cards. Like I'm playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards or something. It's like I've got this trap card, Diffie-Hellman key exchange, or whatever.
We're gonna use Schnorr signatures.
Totally.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah.
Let's jump into my top stories of the week. We'll run through them pretty fast. A judge just blew up Apple's control of the App Store. So if you didn't see this, This came through, which was kind of crazy, but Yvonne Gonzalez Rogers just ruled that effective immediately, Apple is no longer allowed to collect fees on purchases made outside apps, and blocks the company from restricting how developers can point users to where they can make purchases outside of apps. Apple says it will appeal the order, but yeah, so now you can be able to zap on Nostr freely.
But what confuses me about this is that it says outside of an app. Like, what does that mean?
So I understand it to mean that, like, say Audible. So you have like Audible, you'll be able to make purchases inside the app now.
But it says like outside of an app, not inside. So I was talking to someone here in Plub Lab, and they mentioned it means like if you use payment rails outside of Apple. So like if you use the Lightning Network, then you don't have to pay Apple for it.
2 sets of
But yes, I'm not really sure.
Okay, yeah. One after trial, the court found that Apple's 30% commission allowed it to reap separative operating margins, was not tied to the value of its intellectual property, and thus was anti-competitive. Charges 27% commission on off-app purchases, where it had previously charged nothing, and the commission for a period of 7 days after the consumer linked out to the app.
Yeah, what is off-app purchases?
Yeah, I think it like my intuition
to the
would tell me it means like when you click a link in the app and then you go to a different website,
developers' ability to
and then you pay there.
Direct consumers to
that head is nodding in his head.
Apple's response imposed new barriers and new.
And they blocked that was like illegal, or not illegal, but
with full
like anti-policy.
Just Apple's initial in-court testimony. Temperance business documents reveal that Apple knew exactly what it was
because I think
doing,
that's
and every turn shows the most
important for zaps.
Necessity. Yeah, I guess if you're, I would say this, if you're an app developer or somebody building the Bitcoin, definitely consult your lawyer.
Oh, okay, I see. So
just to get clarification on all this,
here's a clear explanation. Off-app purchase in this context refers to purchases that consumers make outside of an Apple app, but are related to digital content or services they use within an app.
Wait,
right? So it's like, I have Austin app, and it's on your Apple device, but it's not an Apple app, right? So why should I have to pay Apple 30% through the Austin app, right? If I'm not using their...
No, it's only 30% through the App Store. I thought this was talking about the in-app purchases once you pay that 30%.
It is in-app purchases, yeah.
So I thought they got rid of the 30% with in-app purchases.
No, they didn't. This is why Damas hasn't been able to have zaps. And because they considered it an in-app purchase, and they were like, you can't do this without paying us 30%.
See, I thought they got rid of the 30% with the in-app purchase.
Yeah, so it's like basically like I have Clash of Pleb Devs on the App Store, and and people buy for stuff within the app. If I distributed through the App Store previously, I would have to give Apple 30%.
So it looks like Tim Sweeney, looks like he's the guy from Fortnite. Says Epic puts forth a peace proposal. If Apple extends the court friction-free Apple tax-free framework worldwide, will return Fortnite to the App Store worldwide and drop current and future litigation. No fees on web transactions. Game over for the Apple tax.
Oh wow!
Apple's 15-30% junk fees are now just as dead here. Yeah, this is where like I feel like they're talking about it this week. I was listening to another podcast, like a tech podcast, and they're talking about how like Craig Federighi is like the guy who's in charge of like the app development side of like Apple, and how he's just like dropped the ball in treating developers over there. And it's just kind of sad because like there's no other great platform to move over to. Do you know what I mean? Like for developers who are trying to make a living.
I'm surprised to read that Europe did it before the United States. But yeah, something good about Europe.
Yeah, y'all get rid of the additional fees, data controls, and then poison ingredients a lot faster than America. We hold on to all that stuff.
Well, never
Red
mind.
140 or whatever.
Yes.
The other top story, or here, let me do this other one real quick. So I wanted to share Suno. So Suno's this kind of AI music app, and I've just been following it because I find it to be completely fascinating. Some of the guys down here are like, oh, I can't log in because you need a phone number. They don't need a phone number. You just have to choose a different login method. But you know, privacy. I understand that. Anyways, so you can type in here. You want to create your own song. Ted, I don't know if you see this. Ted, you might like this. So give me Austin. Give me a song you want me to create.
A song like a genre, or here, Ted's coming.
Cypherpunk Space Pirates.
Cypher punk space pirates. Let me hit create. Oh, and you give me like a genre though. It needs like a genre too.
Shanty.
Is that a genre? How do you spell that?
SH.
Oh,
SHANTY.
yeah. So you can't use like artists. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, like you can't attribute people.
Yeah, you can't put like, I don't know. You can't put like an artist name in there. Like you can't put like Drake or something because you can't do that.
Wait, what happens?
Because
if
the
you do?
AI like will spaz out.
Oh.
But so you'll hit create here, and then it'll go and create this.
Shantae.
That's why.
Okay, hang on. So it's making it here on the right side. If you can see this,
Making up a new genre.
yeah. So I was playing it with it yesterday. You can even get down to like you can put ethereal vocals, or you can put like raspy vocals. You can put whatever you want. So it's yeah, I'm gonna play it right now. So for the stackers at home. Oh Lord, this is terrible. Here, let me switch it for y'all real quick.
Here,
Terrible. It's really terrible. Yeah.
you need to refine it first.
How terrible is that? It's so terrible. Anyways, let me stop this. It's terrible.
Wow. That was the
Anyway,
most Ethereum coded song I've ever heard.
anyways, but yeah, look, so I'm more out of all of this, I'm more impressed with like the layout. Look at their layout, dude. So they have a for you section, a suggested creators that you can follow, trending, the best of like what's been created, now in motion, featured section, like new songs, top categories, continue listening. You can go over here, like all the stuff you created, your library, explore. I don't know who funded them, but it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. The last thing I'll say before you jump in, Austin, the last thing I'll say is I was watching this like video, and there was this kid. He was having like a come to Jesus moment. He was like, I can't listen to a song for more than 30 seconds. And so like all these kids are getting iPods now because they can't listen to a song. Like they're having trouble like listening to a song for more than 30 seconds.
I mean, because of
Can you
pay
imagine
attention.
that, Ted? Anyways, Austin, your thoughts.
Man, too many thoughts. The music's too repetitive. You need to enrich your mind. You need to get on this shit.
Oh, man. I don't know why you guys said Shanti. It could be so much better.
So would you say you can hear that it's AI?
Very accurate according to the prompts, though.
I actually think it replaces. So look, let me go here. Like I think it actually replaces better.
This can replace all of the
So
bad music.
you can type in like chill wave, like
Bitcoin.
raspy vocals, synth, slow dive. Let's see if it let me do that.
Well, let's go. Love some slow dive.
Let me see if it does this.
And this is
I
a
think I might have.
free service.
Oh, it couldn't generate that. Oh, because I use slow dive. Hang on. Slow.
Oh yeah.
Reverb. Let me do that instead.
Slow reverb.
Let's see if it does this. All right, here we go.
Then you
Let's see
get
if
that vacuum cleaner sound effect, you know.
Let's see if it does this.
The
Oh,
shivers.
Moonlight Drift. There we go. Okay, so now check this out. This might. Oh yeah, this sounds like my vibe.
Some dream pop.
Yeah, sounds like stuff I'd go to sleep to.
Oh, it's too electric.
Yeah,
It's too electric.
dude, you can drop this on 6th Street. Somebody will dance to it. What do you think,
Yeah.
Juan? What do you think of this song? Does this sound like AI? It doesn't sound like AI to me.
Yeah, this is great. We can just like all of the ununique and bad artists, we can just replace them.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And then we can leave all the weirdos who are actually talented.
Anyways, yeah, I just thought I'd share that because I thought stackers don't get out much outside of Stacker News, so they get to check out what's going on here.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Anyway, so there's that, and then the other one was this. I think the feds took down my Bitcoin Meetup poster.
Oh yes.
This is from Unschooled, April 29th. He shared this on Stacker News because he thinks he literally said, he goes, I'm pretty sure the feds took down my Bitcoin Meetup poster. And then he goes down, he goes, otherwise it was some library or I said library activist, libtard activist that thinks Bitcoin boils the oceans. But this was his Meetup poster.
Yeah, like
What's so
very
offensive
sad.
about that?
That's the Bitcoin logo is on it.
EK, what do you think? Is that offensive to you being in the green or the Green Party? If you were in the Green Party still, would that be offensive to you?
Probably, because then I wouldn't like Bitcoin. I would think everybody who like goes to a Bitcoin meetup must be
Because it's too yellow.
Yeah, like a criminal or something.
Wow. Austin, is that offensive to you? This one?
No, it's not. I'm wondering, I mean, I did you read this? I haven't read it, but it's like, why do you think it's a Fed? Is this genius clickbait?
He mentioned in the
It
post.
says like the next time I release a feature for pleb devs, I need to, and like I accidentally ship a bug, I need to be like, did the feds take down pleb devs? It's like the most
I'm
perfect,
just saying, like the more times you mention communism, deep state, the feds.
Did the deep state communize my code?
But he mentioned in the post that the
No, I think
cafe is in the city center, close to a federal employee office.
Where is it at? Where do you see that?
Okay,
The second
okay.
paragraph.
Where do you see that? Oh, he thinks it was Malay, or no, that's not Malay.
Yeah, like people just have a bad reaction.
Oh,
when they see
here.
Bitcoin.
He said, well, the cafe is in the city center close to the federal employee office. So the most plausible case scenario is that some numbskull, property rights disrespecting government lackey, came in on their lunch and
Yeah,
didn't like what they saw.
To protect the people.
The third time I
Bitcoin.
saved them the trouble of untacking and left several posters on the table next to the bulletin. Nice try, feds, he says. Dang, dude.
The zine this week is also about nice try.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, yeah, he mentioned in the at
He
the end.
mentioned here at the bottom? What if this is a coordinated attack on Stacker News?
Wait, what
What
does
is
he
this?
say at the
Oh,
bottom? He's
what is this?
talking about pleb poet.
Yes.
Yeah,
There,
going
right
forward.
here. Going forward,
Almost
I
like-
will just start posting. No one's going to see it if you just post on Stacker News. P.S. Pleb Poet, I'll have you know I shamelessly flaunted my inaugural SN scene to the attendees.
That's what he meant.
Wow, that's huge.
Yes.
That's
it's
big.
working.
See, I was telling Keyan, I was like, dude, this is going to blow up.
Yeah, like it has a mind of its own
Dude,
now.
look at this. I think Satoshi Nakamoto's right. Nakamoto's is right. And then they fight you. We're at the then they fight you stage. Literally. You put Bitcoin meetup posters at the cafe, and then they fight you.
Yeah, like we're at the level where they just take down flyers.
This It's Real Fake says otherwise it's some That's funny. These are my favorite kind of Stacker News posts, are these right here. Because it could be made up, you know?
But I haven't heard for a while someone saying Bitcoin boils the ocean. I think we're over that.
We're over that stage.
I hope at least.
Yeah, I actually think he should just keep doing it. If anything, you know what I would do? This is how Car rose. I would go straight over to the Fed office and invite them over. You got to meet them where they're at.
Or maybe like
I would even go the step even further because I'm just crazy like this. I would ask them if I could do it there at their office because that's how crazy I am.
I would
I
would say play around with the idea. Like, see if the next meetup, can you say like Bitcoin for the environment,
Yeah.
for equality and justice?
I mean, shoot or shoot, man.
Like, can you
don't
frame
know.
it in such a way to where they start to pull it down? They're like, wait, but I agree with environment and equality.
Yeah, you don't know what you can get until you ask for
yeah,
it.
like-
So, unschooled, go right over there. Ask them if they'd come to your meetup, and then ask them if you can be in their. You can do the Bitcoin meetup in their thing. You'd be surprised. That's what I would do. Jokes on them at that point.
Yeah, I would use it as a signal that you're doing the right thing.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like if somebody is doing it, then now they know that you know that they're taking it down.
Yeah, like maybe they'll get tired.
Or they'll
Somebody.
be like, oh, I just met Unschooled. He's like the nicest guy in the world. Don't take down his thing. You know?
Yeah, I wonder what I would do. They take
What's
down
the
my
saying?
flyer.
Kill him with kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then this one's for Wumble. Wumble wanted me to talk about the Pope election conclave, May 7th. That's happening. I really don't have any thoughts on it because, we don't really, we're not really. He wanted me like make bets and stuff for decks, and I'm like, we don't do that. That's not a thing.
Like who's gonna be the next?
Yeah, we're not supposed to do that. That's like
I think it should be a woman.
that's not supposed to be a thing.
Oh yes.
So
I think it'd be good if it was a woman.
I would just say five loaves, two fishes.
What does that mean?
Exactly.
Okay.
That means like you just have faith and that it's gonna take care of itself.
So do they elect the Pope? Like who?
Yeah, there's like
votes?
133 cardinals, but I don't think all cardinals are electors, from my understanding. And I don't know a lot. I mean, you guys are asking the wrong guy, but from my understanding, now all cardinals are electors, and I think some bishops. And then I think how it starts is like on May 7th. And I think how it works is like, from my understanding, just from what they've been telling us at church, is like everything that they're like, first you have to like pay respects to Pope Francis and all that happens, and then the funeral and stuff like that. And then this week, like all the cardinals are there and they're going over like the whole global kind of state of the church, and then they're gonna have discussions around like the budget, what the problems are, all that stuff. Apparently there was like one cardinal that had to step down for some reasons with like embezzlement or something, and then there's like so he stepped down, and then there's like four other things that they're looking at that they have to talk over. Those are like some points that they're bringing up, and then a lot of them are bringing up their own kind of problems that they're having. So there's a lot of that discussion going on, and then they have to go over the rules. And then once they get all that stuff outlined, and then they go on the conclave, and then from my understanding, it's more like a retreat. That's what I heard. It's not actually like a.
So they meet in person for like a weekend, and then they decide who is the Pope.
No. So no one knows what happens behind the scenes. But if you've ever been on a retreat, you're not supposed to talk about what happens on the retreat. There's like a river roll.
Okay, what happens stays
I've
there.
been on 2 retreats.
I see.
You're not supposed to talk about it. But Austin, you've been on retreats before?
I mean, not around Catholicism at all.
Oh, okay.
Huge
Difference,
mystery to me.
But I would just say it's mostly prayer and reflection, and then there's talks. That's the easiest way to say, but it's a lot of prayer. So I would say if it's like that, like it's coming from a place of service and it's coming from a place of reflection, and so they're gonna make the best decision.
And the future Pope, is he a cardinal?
See, that's the thing. So I've heard, and I'm the wrong person to ask, but I've heard that you don't have to be. I've heard that to be an elector or to be an electee, that you do have to be a cardinal, but to be an I don't know.
Okay, yeah,
But
a lot of questions there.
I've also heard that you can be a bishop and still elect But I don't know the actual like how that works.
But do you know, is it for a lifetime or how long?
What do you
is
mean?
Like how long is the Pope?
Oh, until he passes.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
everybody died except the one who
So
got.
the last time, so the last pope was Pope Benedict, and then he retired, and then it was Pope Francis, and that was the only time there's ever been
Oh.
two popes at the same time. That's why they
Oh.
both stated two different things. It was actually kind of the most craziest thing you ever saw because there's like two popes like shaking hands. It was the weirdest thing. There's like you can go on. People like to try to like demonize the like people like movies try to like demonize the whole thing, but it was actually very beautiful how you had like two popes at the same time. It was wild because it's like it's so like it's like seeing two. Yeah, it's wild. It's just wild.
It's like when you have like two presidents at the same
Yeah,
time.
imagine like two American presidents at the same time. It's just like you would never see that. Like
Hmm.
like if one just like if we had like a president that just like he didn't step down, he just like retired and then
Yeah.
another president stepped in. It's like, wait, where's the other president? He's like, oh, he's just in the same or he's like across the street. Just like
You rode into the sunset.
yeah, the other one's just like he's still there. It's kind of weird. Anyway, that's the Pope talk for Wumble. That's everything that we had this week.
First black Asian
We're gonna jump
Pope.
into Cowboys real quick because this has been the longest show ever. Cowboys top week. You want to run through them? EK, Austin. You want to give us? You want to put on the cowboy hat?
Oh, I
Oh,
don't
no one
have
has the
one.
cowboy hat. Oh, Austin has a or Stacker.News hat. That's close to it.
Yeah, I haven't been posting lately. At least not from my main account.
Whoa.
Dun, dun, dun.
Are you the Stacker and Heidi?
Serious?
I'll tell you, I'm not a top cowboy.
Wait,
Are you
how many
the?
accounts do you have on Stacker.News?
That's proprietary information.
Wait, do you have multiple? Have we ever conversated before on Stacker.News? With other accounts?
I mean, yeah.
Whoa, interesting.
Car,
Yeah,
do
you know all
not
those
have
mean comments
multiple
you get?
accounts?
Oh, are you the mean comments?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Oh
just kidding.
wow.
Maybe
Well, here's
he's the
what's
one
great. I
hiding.
may come in and post from different accounts, but I still pay my fair share. My sats make it in the rewards pool, and they make it to these mostly to these top cowboys.
Look at me, I'm climbing up. In your face,
Oh.
Keyan. 29. Boom.
Oh,
But I also always like to see where my bot is, the Hacker News bot.
I'm the dark horse. I'm gonna try to
Yes.
climb up to number one. Maybe I'm just gonna
Like
climb
it's
up to number
usually only loses the head when my bot goes
one.
down.
Ooh, Webster's number 34. Dang, I didn't even realize I was at 29 now. I just smoked past all y'all. How is
Yeah,
that possible,
top
EK?
30.
Where are you at, EK? Oh,
Place
catching up.
19.
you know what? This is more fun now that I have a cowboy, now that I'm in the running.
But you still don't know how to get ahead.
I do have a hat. Look.
But you have one. But how many days?
How many days?
11 days.
Boom.
Wow. Is this your biggest streak?
This is my biggest streak, apparently. Oh, you have 60. I just need to get you to log off for one day. I'll just go after you guys one by one. Okay, me and Kefford are in the running. Yeah, we're still podcasting. Yeah. Cool.
yeah. I remembered something. One last thing I'm gonna mention. Cool thing of the week. I saw someone. I don't remember who it was. I think Nifty actually.
Yeah.
Was saying, hey, in lieu of all of this Bitcoin Core debate going on in the repo, wouldn't it be awesome if these Bitcoin Core discussions could happen on a Stacker.News like forum? So you have to pay to post,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yeah,
Instead
they
of shutting down the
they
GitHub
mentioned-
and keeping people from
They
commenting.
mentioned that like
Yeah,
where was that mentioned it? Like 2 weeks ago.
I think Nifty. I saw Nifty mention
It was on. It was like literally 2 weeks ago. They had that on. Like it was like one of the. It was like literally like one of the top posts that we
Okay.
were talking about, and then we brought it up on the show, and I think it was like literally dismissed right away. But Keyan, no, that's what it was. Keyan had chimed in like 2 years ago
Huh.
and came right under there and said, "Hey, I was gonna make like a mailing list." Right? Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, and then he goes, but I opted to do Stacker.News instead. But he was going to make like a mailing list fixer.
Mhm.
And then I said, and I commented on there, I was like, this is the post because somebody was complaining about that.
Mm.
Yeah, we were talking about that like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good future. Like,
But I think he told Gentry that, and I think they just decided that they didn't want to do that.
Oh, literally the post that you're
Yeah.
Talking about?
hovering
Proposal to
over.
move Bitcoin Core development.
Yeah, like
over
from
Nostr,
the
or
the
just
article.
Oh,
centralized
is this one right
equivalent.
here?
It's a new post 3 hours ago.
Yeah, it was this one right here.
It's heavy work for sure. On the
We've
change
talked
of
about this.
tree.
This is the same one that we've talked
I
about.
mean, this is a little different. This is saying development,
Nah,
not
I
just
feel like this is
discussion.
the-
But
This is when we talked about.
Okay.
We've talked about this on Stacker News Live like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Wumble, find it, put it in the show notes. I'm sure we've talked about this multiple times, but for whatever reason, they don't want to move to.
It's just
Well,
a
I
lot of
mean,
work.
you know,
Yeah,
it's
EK,
probably
explain
not-
why they don't
yeah.
want to.
I mean, if I would be a Bitcoin Core contributor, like there is definitely friction involved to moving to somewhere else. And also it might sound great to use something else than GitHub, but maybe it will have its own issues. Like it depends on where you want to move to. And also the problem.
Who posted this?
Currently-
Cancer? Is that sorry. Scroll up to the top. Who posted this? Oh, Art.
Yeah,
Okay, never
Art.
mind. Sorry, go ahead, EK.
Yeah, like is the problem with GitHub that it's centralized, it can be censored, or that it is like getting spammed, or like what exactly are they trying to solve by moving somewhere else?
I think it's like how you deal with spam by making people pay to spam was kind of the idea. But yeah, this is like, don't do this. Like what this person does, like completely out of context, no technical comment on, is this on the Bitcoin Core repo? Like, hey, use this NIP and move over the entire development over to Nostr. It's like, that's not a real suggestion.
Definitely don't do. Nostr's way too early.
That's not a real suggestion.
Yeah.
Also,
Nostr's
I mean, there's
too
1,000
early.
reasons.
And it's literally like one centralized group controlling Nostr at this point.
And I do want to call out, this is where like I think people on Core, well, this is where like the plebs are annoying, where it's like all of a sudden there's all this attention on GitHub, and then you have someone that's never even interacted on GitHub, and they just leave the most unhinged comment. You should go do this blaring thing that could never ever happen. Opens an issue.
But I
And
think
it's like, look, that's not helpful. You don't know what you're doing. I know that that's elitist to say. It's not helpful and you don't know what you're doing. But then at the same time, it's like,
it's also
you
true.
do your work to put in your post. We've talked about this, EK. When it comes to
Yes.
contribute, it's like, yes, it's open. Come talk, come contribute. But at the same time, that doesn't mean come bring your laziest question and your laziest statement and expect people to
Yes.
take it seriously and put work into it.
Yeah, it's like a meritocracy.
Meritocracy,
Like you
exactly.
need to you're dumb until proven smart.
Yeah, or value for value.
Yes.
Or prove that you did the work when you bring the comment. And the fact that you looked up a single nip that I don't think anyone's even really using in a sophisticated way isn't proof of work. Anyway.
And I also think like the people who are on GitHub, it's not them who want to move. It's the people who just want to comment. Like the people who are actually using GitHub, I think they are fine using GitHub.
They're fine with it.
It's
Yeah, they're
just
just
the
not
people
fine
who are
in
not
this
using
1 out of
GitHub.
100 scenario where all these people jump in
Yes.
and they have to shut it down. So it's like I understand both sides of that.
Cool. We're gonna jump into the boost from last week. Where's it at? Meta.
Boosts.
Oh, yeah, the boost. We had. Let me go here. We had a pre-show meeting. I stole this idea from Undisciplined and Gray Ruby. Actually, I'm gonna keep doing it every week,
Yes, that's cool.
even though you guys didn't use it. But
Yeah, but I saw it.
the first one was from Blockchain Boog. Thanks for the support. SN takeover for TabConf 7 is underway. Oh, so it sounds like Boog is gonna do the table for TabConf 7. Thanks,
Nice.
Boog. Appreciate you.
Wait, what is that? For a
So-
table like the open source builders day table?
So he basically made this. Man, how do I explain it? It was on last week's episode, but basically, Boog chimed in last week and said that he was going to take ownership of doing a Stacker News table for TabConf this year, and he was just basically going to have like all the podcasts for Stacker News, like all the territories, like all the swag. He mentioned
Zines.
your name too. and he said all the zines, and then he wants all the stackers to show up. He wants like to do a big Stacker.News table. And I told him I'll bring the audio and video gear, and then we can do like full on, like we can record Stacker Sports there, Pleb Devs there. We can record Stacker.News live, of course. We'll have guests and stuff.
Nice.
And then yeah, and then I told him, I was like, dude, doing tables at doing tables at conferences is not easy. That's a lot of work. There's a lot of responsibility. But he said right now, he just said,
fun.
oh yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. He goes, thanks for the support. So he's gonna do it. Sounds like it's underway. So he's gonna take care of it.
Let's go.
So yeah.
By the way, Boog, I've got an what would you call it? An intermediate JavaScript course I'm cooking up right now with you exactly in mind, but also other pleb devs. So
you go,
we need to keep reminding him to push code.
yeah, we need to remind Boog to push code. I'm gonna go look at your GitHub after this, and I'll send you a nice message.
Blockchain Boog. Next one was from Undisciplined. He said, Stacker Sports, watch a sport so you don't have to. That's I actually listened to Stacker Sports. Thanks Undisciplined for recapping the NFL draft this week for me. I listened to the first 30 minutes and I stopped listening after that. He was actually, I would give this, Undisciplined and Gray Ruby were exactly right. They literally said what was going to happen for the Lakers, and I disagree when I was listening to them the past couple of weeks. And then it exactly turned out exactly the same way they said was going to happen. And they lost to the Minnesota.
Sounds like match fixing.
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, they knew what was going to happen, and then it's exactly how it turned out. And the Lakers got swept in like 5 games.
Okay,
So,
this other comment though, the segments Car hates talking about were really engaging.
I have too much to say about it to actually do so.
I don't know what he means by the second part, but Car, are you inverse Kramer on what's interesting on Stacker.News Live?
What's Kramer?
Are you doing inverse Kramer?
What's inverse Kramer?
Well, like how do I explain this? Like Kramer, like every time he calls a stock, like it goes the opposite way.
I don't know what you. I don't know.
Dude,
what you mean by
you're
that.
just out of touch. You're just out of touch, man.
Is Kramer? Are you talking about like Kramer from
like was it Mad
Seinfeld?
Money?
Money, yes.
Yeah.
Jim
Wait.
Cramer.
Oh, Jim Cramer.
Jim Cramer. It's like he's like Bitcoin's going down, and then Bitcoin goes up. Like everything he says, the opposite happens.
Oh, don't you put that juju on me?
I'm just saying, and like this week, you're like trying to move on from the Bitcoin stuff, but everyone wants, I think everyone wants to talk about what you don't want to talk about.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Inverse Car.
It's sometimes funny when you say like I don't want to talk about this, and then you like talk for 10 minutes about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to talk about it.
So
Yeah,
just
I guess, yeah.
so you never have to talk about it again.
Yeah, this week I actually didn't. You guys were doing most of the talking this week.
But I understand the second part. I have too much to say about it to actually do so.
Yeah, what did he
Like
mean
you
by
only
that?
want to start when you can finish what you want to say, so you don't even start to talk about it.
But I love Undisciplined's takes on sports every week, so I don't have to watch. I mean, I do watch the clips online, but it's because of them I'm like more in tune with what's going on in the sports world, which I appreciate because I used to love watching sports, but now they keep me engaged.
And I like the tagline Stacker Sports watches sports, so you don't have to.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
I will
tagline.
definitely remember
That's
that.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, seemingly, if I enjoyed sports, that'd be the one thing I'd want to do. But I'm glad that he's got my back.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now
I
I'm.
Yeah. Great
I'm gonna
Ruby's
watch
really
it.
good too. Like he does a really good job of like he's kind of like the EK of the group where he's just like very like just
Chill.
yeah.
No opinion.
Well, no, he has opinions. He has opinions. But Undisciplined's more like the coob of the group. Okay, cool. Let's go with Gray Ruby said zap. And then Undisciplined says, in the event of Stacker.News dating territory, remember the age-old advice. If a beautiful woman wants to talk about Bitcoin, block him.
It's
Oh, that's funny.
getting only more important.
Yeah.
No, maybe now it's like a bot, I guess.
That's fun.
Or a Fed.
Yeah, it's totally a Fed now. These days, it's a Fed.
Beautiful bot.
In the old days, it used to be like a bot.
Do you think we can like psyop people into learning more about Bitcoin if we like have the dating territory and we have a bunch of like fake hot girls and they're all like, tell me about op return. Tell me your mempool policy.
Yes. Yeah, then people are
I think
gonna
that's a
like
good
give
strategy.
very good answers about it. And we can use these good answers as marketing.
Exactly. And then we can extend that to bit devs.
Oh man, what should I say here? So many things I could say, Austin, but we'll save it for after
You know,
dark.
you don't want to say it, so
What was
you
I
don't want
say?
to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. What was I say? Cool. I think that's everything we got. Oh yeah. I think the last actually this was for Coins Reporter, which is Darth Coin's favorite stacker. He'll get that joke. He wants us to scrap the ending where we say, "What are you gonna do next week?" Which I don't say, Coins Reporter. I say, "What are you gonna do this weekend?" He wants us to scrap that. He instead wants us to say an intriguing question. I told him
Ooh.
I won't have an intriguing question because that's.
What are the stackers?
But I
gonna do?
know Austin will have an intriguing question. So Austin, leave the stackers and us with an intriguing question for the week.
Ooh, dang. Topher's coming in. Okay. Okay. Save my ass.
Topher with the intriguing question. There you go, Topher.
I would like to know, how do you actually delete your mempool in Bitcoin Core? Because I've been trying for the past 2 hours to purge my mempool. And it seems like the core devs have made it impossible to purge your mempool at all. I might even put this on Stacker.News as like a bounty. Like, I've tried so many different ways. And if I can't figure out how to clear my mempool, I feel bad for for anybody else that like runs a small node and they want to like manage their mempool a little better, especially with all this flood of op returns, massive op returns that seem to be.
Topher, this is the worst
Coming
question you
over
could
the
have
hill.
asked us. You're just dragging us back in. You're dragging us back into this shit. I'm so triggered. No, I'm just.
Yeah. I need some technical help. I can't figure it out. How do I delete my mempool, EK?
How do you delete your computer?
Do I just have to throw it out the window? The whole thing?
Use someone else's node.
Yeah, but aren't there isn't there a folder called mempool or
That's
something?
the thing. There's a mempool.dat file. I delete it and then I restart Bitcoin Core and then it comes back.
Comes back.
And then all the
Oh, wow.
transactions are back in my mempool.
Conspiracy.
It's like it resurrects from the dead.
That reminds me of a computer that didn't turn off when I pulled the power plug. So it kept running for a few seconds. Maybe you need to delete and then wait for a few minutes and then restart. That's my theory. But yeah, make a bounty.
I need help. GPT can't help me because it keeps hallucinating RPC commands that don't exist. I'm pulling my hair.
And maybe Coins Reporter can help you with that, because he was the one asking for intriguing questions.
Right on. Yeah, how do I purge my mempool? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess here's a question I'm thinking about is how to become an expert in Bitcoin. And someone tweeted out the other day a question I never answered, but I was thinking about and have been thinking about, which is I'm a young kid. I just graduated from college. I'm entering Bitcoin. What's your advice for me? And my advice was something around realize that you can become, an expert in Bitcoin, and that's the most valuable thing to do is to have knowledge. And then this has been kind of a question in my head, especially with the recent controversy. What does it mean to be, and how do you become an expert? And it's what does it mean to understand the history, the context, and to be able to, for example, digest both sides of the argument going on right now? I think that's a fascinating question, because for me, for years and years and years, I thought of these things that's outside of my realm, stuff I could never understand. Bitcoin Core developers are geniuses, and I could never be like them. But yeah, I guess I don't know. That's kind of a question.
Yeah, and now we're
Zap.
looking for the adult in the room.
Yep.
Oh, it's over?
Yeah, it's 100.
Okay, so we'll see you guys next time.